If you're a parent right now, you probably feel this weird tension. Everyone keeps saying AI is changing everything, schools are moving too slowly, and meanwhile, your child or teen is mostly using AI tools to shortcut homework. But here's the bigger issue. Most parents have absolutely no idea what kids should actually be learning in AI. Should they learn prompting, coding, creating automations, doing machine learning, building apps, preparing for college, starting businesses? It's honestly overwhelming. And unfortunately, a lot of AI programs for kids are teaching surface-level skills that may not matter much in a few years. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what kids and teens should be learning in AI at every age. And I'll also show you when free resources are enough and when structured programs actually make more sense. So a little bit about me. I've spent over 20 years in technology education. I spent the first part of my career building games for Sony PlayStation and other major gaming platforms. And even back then, we were working with early forms of AI, things like NPC behavior systems and game logic, that help characters react intelligently to players. It wasn't generative AI like today, but it gave me an early look at where this technology was heading. And through CodaKid, we've now helped over 100,000 students in over 100 countries learn coding, AI, game development, and tech entrepreneurship. I'm also a parent, and I can tell you this, that the biggest mistake parents make is thinking that their child needs to become an AI engineer by age 10. That's not the goal. When I think about preparing kids for the AI future, I don't think in terms of tools or courses. I think in terms of stages. More specifically, I want them to go from consumer to creator to builder to leader. Let me explain. Consumer is where most kids and teens are today. They're using tools like ChatGPT, but they're mostly copying, consuming, shortcutting. They're getting experience, but not real skills. Creator is where your child or teen starts making things, stories, videos, art, small projects. They start to realize, I can create with AI, and that's a great first step, but it's still limited. Builder is where things start to become valuable. Now they're learning how things actually work. They're coding, they're using APIs, building apps, creating games, automating workflows. They're not just using AI, they're building with it. And leader, this is the top level. Now your teen is launching real projects, solving real problems, getting users, building a tech portfolio. They can say, I built this, here's the link, and that's powerful. Now here's what most parents don't realize. This progression does not happen automatically. If you just give your child access to AI tools, they usually just stay stuck as consumers. So the real question becomes, how do you move your child or teen through these stages at the right age? And that's where a roadmap matters. So for ages 8 to 10, at this stage your goal is simple. Move your child from consumer to creator. That's it. Not an engineer, not a programmer, a creator. And what does that actually look like? It means just instead of asking AI for answers, they're using it to make things. They're writing stories with ChatGPT. They're generating artwork. They're creating characters, worlds, simple games. They're experimenting. And this part is really important. At this age, AI should feel creative, not academic. If it starts to feel like another school subject, you're doing it wrong. You want curiosity. You want them thinking, what can I make with this? Let me show you what this actually looks like. We've had younger students create AI-generated music videos where they write lyrics, generate visuals, and turn it into a finished project. Not perfect, but creative. And that's exactly the goal at this stage. This stage is about curiosity, not complexity. For ages 11 to 13, now this is where most parents underestimate their kids. At this stage, we move from creator to early builder. And kids at this age are way more capable than people think. This is where you start introducing real skills, things like coding, and specifically foundations in Python. Not in an overwhelming way, but enough for them to understand how things actually work. I also recommend game development. Platforms like Minecraft and Roblox are actually perfect for this because they're fun, but they also teach real logic and problem solving. Now, instead of just creating content, they're building things. They might build their first game, modify a world, create a simple AI-powered tool, or even build a bot that does something useful. And this is a big shift. They start to realize, I don't just use technology, I can build it. And that is a powerful moment. At this stage, things start to look really interesting. And we've seen students build their first working games, create simple AI tools, and start putting pieces together in ways that actually function. So this is where kids stop consuming and start building. For ages 14 to 16, now this is where things start to get really interesting. At this stage, we're moving fully into builder. And this is where most students fall behind because they stay stuck in beginner level learning. This is where your teen should be learning how real technology works, how to connect APIs, how to build web apps, how to use AI inside real projects, how to automate workflows, and most importantly, how to solve real problems instead of just building for fun. They're building things people can actually use, an AI study tool, a niche app, a website with real functionality, a small business tool. And here's the key, if your teen is still only watching videos or completing courses at this stage, they're falling behind. They need to be building. For example, one of our students built an AI-powered educational game where players solve math problems to repair music tracks and progress through the game. It's fun, but also functional. And that is the difference at this stage. They're not just building projects, they're building things that actually work. This is where projects become real. For ages 16 to 18, now this is where everything starts to separate. At this stage, we move from builder to leader. And very few students ever reach this level because this is where things become real. This is no longer about learning, it is about impact. Now your teen is launching real projects, getting real users, maybe even making money. They have a portfolio, they have proof. They can say, I built this, here's the link, here's what it does, here's who's using it. And that's incredibly powerful. We've had students take these kinds of projects and use them to get into top universities like Stanford, Yale, Brown, and Georgia Tech. And in some cases, they're not just building projects, they are building real products. We've had students launch AI apps, get real users, and even generate revenue. One student built and monetized a Roblox game and actually made $10,000 in a single summer. And when a student can show that, it completely changes how they're perceived. For college admissions, for internships, for future opportunities. Because most students don't have that. They have grades, activities, clubs, but they don't have something real that they've built. And that's the difference. Now here's the problem. Most AI programs for kids never get them past the creator stage. They focus on watching videos, getting certificates, completing guided lessons. And don't get me wrong, that's not useless, but it's not enough. What's missing is building, shipping, iteration. And that's where most kids get stuck, never making the jump to building something that actually works in the real world. Now, to be clear, you do not need to pay for a service to get your child started. There are great free resources out there, platforms like YouTube, Khan Academy, Code.org, and of course the AI tools themselves. And your child or teen can learn a lot just by exploring. But here's where most families struggle. They don't know what to do next. There's no structure, no consistency, there's no expert guidance when things get difficult, and that's usually where kids stall out. And that's where structured programs can make a big difference. At CodaKid, we focus on helping students move beyond just learning and actually build real AI apps, games, and portfolios with guidance, structure, and accountability. And if you want to explore whether it's a fit for your child, we offer a free trial lesson. No pressure, just a chance to see how it works. If you're interested, you can learn more in the description below. If you take one thing away from this video, don't aim for your child to just learn AI. Aim for this. Get them moving from consumer to creator to builder to leader. Because the future doesn't belong to kids who just use AI. It belongs to the ones who build with it and ultimately learn to lead with it. If you want a free version of this roadmap that breaks down exactly how this might look for your child or teen, comment roadmap and I'll send it to you. I hope you've enjoyed this video.